Hey there guys and gals, Anime Dude here, and today on April 26th, 2020, we were blessed with yet another new weekly Shonen Jump serialization, and I just couldn't wait to give my thoughts on it. Needless to say that there will be spoilers from this first chapter, but I still recommend you give it a read for yourself. This manga is called Bone Collection, and while I wasn't really sure what to expect based on the name, the first few pages reveal that the setting contains otherworldly monsters called yokai, as well as exorcists to combat them. Now I'm not proud of this, but upon reading those first couple pages, I audibly sighed. Maybe that's just personal bias against settings like this, since I've seen them time and time again, and it may also be part of the reason I ranked Jujutsu Kaisen so low back when I ranked every manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. I really don't know. Regardless, link to that Shonen Jump rankings video down in the description just in case you haven't seen it yet and you don't know what my tastes are like. Anyways, Mori King has been underwhelming so far, so seeing the premise of Bone Collection wasn't something that excited me, and in fact I'd say it actively disappointed me. However, that judgment was far too premature, and I gradually became more and more invested throughout the first chapter. So much so that I was genuinely sad when there were no more pages for me to flip. The main character is not only an exorcist from a prestigious family of exorcists, but he's a bit of a pervert. I like him so far, but there was just something about the way his phone buzzed in class to inform him of exorcism duties that came off as cheesy. So, seeing his perverted side immediately afterwards further ruined my first impression of him. Not only that, but despite the fact that he's from a prestigious family, he's incredibly weak, and he only became an exorcist due to his family's connections. He doesn't even have any sort of exorcism spell, except for one forbidden one that he's not allowed to use. However, that spell and the dynamic around it is the thing that truly grabbed my interest, as it not only added a huge taboo to the protagonist's only power, but it's one with various ramifications as well, both legally and otherwise. Legality and morality don't always line up as well as you might think, and the subtle introduction to that concept so early on was something that I loved. He can borrow power from yokai, but due to the nature of that ability, any exorcist that has relied on it in the past eventually had their soul taken over by yokai. Thus, we automatically have a good reasoning as to why it's forbidden, as well as why the prejudice against yokai exists. But, of course, things aren't so straightforward. Our protagonist is a unique individual not only because he can use that spell, but because he has never discriminated between humans and yokai, which, as far as his family and the law is concerned, is a very dangerous thing. Because of that, he's always been monitored to an extent so that he wouldn't use his power, and this is all brought to our attention after he misses curfew for the first time, when he's unmonitored and unaccounted for. His sincerity towards all is shown to us firsthand in this chapter, as well as we meet who I assume is going to be the main heroine. She's of course a yokai, which is bound to make things interesting, but before I go into their dynamic, I just want to mention that we get to see just how forbidden his power is based on when he used it as a kid. He used his yokai friend's power to beat a bad yokai, and the repercussions were steep. The yokai that he saw as his friend was executed, and despite the fact that he was only a kid, he was imprisoned for 3 months. On top of that, it's implied that his punishment could have been much worse had his yokai friend not been an F rank. So, the stakes are pretty high when befriending a yokai, but when he encounters our main heroine, he treats her as if she was a normal person, and she takes that as a compliment. Then, after going out of his way to show her around the city and have fun together, she asks him why, and he simply states that he can't look the other way when people need help. She then presses a bit further, asking if he'd done the same had she said she was a yokai, and he reinforces that mindset that it really doesn't matter to him, as long as they can hang out and be friends. This side of him helped to kinda negate my terrible first impression, and while the sentiment itself seemed normal enough, the blushing look on her face that was filled with shock and disbelief further reinforced how completely unexpected it was according to their world's definition of normal. Despite my initial distaste for what seemed like such an overused setting, I just can't help but love what it seems like this series is trying to do so far. Now, I've spoiled a decent portion of this chapter because I'm not really sure I'm talented enough to give my thoughts very well without doing so, but I left out a lot and I'm not going to spoil the last stretch of it, so definitely go give it a read for yourself if you haven't already. I got invested far sooner than I thought I would, and I just can't wait to see where this series decides to go from here. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss where I rank this series in my 2021 Shonen Jump rankings. Also, thank you to Kara Alter, Jessica LaFond, Shelly, and everyone else over on Patreon for helping to make videos like this possible. If you want to join the Patreon crew alongside these mad lads right here and have your name at the end of videos like this, then I'll leave a link to that down in the description. Thank you all for watching, and Anime Dude out.